if you add a little bit of arrowroot. Arrowroot is a thickener. Instead of cornstarch, use arrowroot. And if you thicken that, then you can actually ice cookies with that, okay? And so then you are able to have people over and you can have cookies. Now, this is a little bit off what I was going to say, but we were talking today with friends, and they were saying about the Rice Krispie recipe. And I'm sorry I don't have it with me right now, but you can go to the health food store and you can get things that look like Rice Krispies, and they're sugar-free. And you buy it's a cereal, and you take your Rice Krispies, and you do almond butter, and you can even mix a little butter with it, and you can put your sweetener, like a pear sweet, in there. Mix it together, make it real thick, then take a jelly roll pan, okay, remember it's flat or a flat cookie sheet, flatten and roll it out, and actually use your cookie cutters and cut out your cookies that way. And if you wanted to, you can ice them with the icing I just told you. So you can make Rice Krispie cookie cutter cookies for the holidays. Now, I'm sorry I don't have the exact measure of ingredients, but it's easy to look those things up once you know what you're looking for on recipes for natural brown rice Krispies. And it's almond butter. You know, I don't really have recipes for a lot of things that I make. I just put things together. So I would take the cereal and I would put some almond butter and I would put some of this in it, and I would watch the consistency and the thickening. So you might want to, after you get done with them, put them in the refrigerator or the freezer to let them set really nice, and then put them out for your children, grandchildren, or friends and family. I also suggest stevia. Stevia isn't more of an herb. It is, I think it is a better substitute when you're sweetening your like hot tea or iced tea. Some people like to put it in their coffee. I prefer stevia in my tea, and normally I like sweeter tea, and that's the only time I use it, and that's the only time I usually hardly use any sweeteners unless I'm baking. There are some recipes on our website for desserts and cookies. There's a great chocolate chip cookie recipe on our website, and it uses barley malt sweetened chocolate chips. And it's a great recipe. And most people would not know it's different from a regular chocolate chip cookie recipe. Get creative, even with that recipe. Add some coconut to it, unsweetened coconut. Add some oatmeal to it, all right? Instead of chocolate chips, put some raisins in it. Don't always feel that you have to follow the recipe. Start being creative on your own and figure something out. You'll make a mess sometimes, but I'm sure if you make a mess, you'll eat it too, right? All right, let's go to our flowers. I like, we have pretty much a wheat-free home. So in our wheat-free home, we use a lot of organic brown rice flour. It's really a very thin flour. And so a lot of times if I'm using this for any type of baking, I have to add additional. Another flour that's very good that is wheat-free is a millet flour. Spelt flour is also good, and you can get brown spelt flour or white spelt flour, but spelt still has gluten in it. So if somebody is watching their gluten and they want to have gluten-free, I would not suggest to do spelt. Now, if you're going to get whole wheat flour, I would suggest you also get an organic flour. I bake a lot if I'm baking at the holidays, which I never know if I'm baking until the day comes and I don't have anything to do for a couple hours and I decide to bake. But I do use whole wheat flour. A lot of people in your transition to good, better, best, when using whole wheat flour, you might want to mix your whole wheat flour with unbleached white flour. Unbleached white flour. Until people get used to the consistency. Because whole wheat flour is a thicker taste, okay? It's heavier. And so some people can't transition into that. I use this for whole wheat flour if I'm making eggplant parmesan or chicken parmesan. I use the whole wheat or the brown rice as my breadcrumbs to breadcrumb it. And then I'm jumping ahead a little bit, but I use my rice oil and to saute it before I bake it in the oven. I also have a cornmeal bread mix, and I just want to tell you guys that the biggest thing we all have to learn is every time you go shopping, you have to read the ingredients because they change from one time to the next time. You might think that they're sweetening something, for example. We use, and we're going to talk about this, so I'm going to skip down to dairy right now. We don't use dairy in our house, but I usually, if I'm making something and it calls for milk, I use rice milk. But you have to watch because what rice milk used to be sweetened with was brown rice syrup. What they're sweetening it with now sometimes is cane juice. Now it depends on which brand you're buying and where you're getting it, but you want to read the ingredients because you don't want to have it sweetened with sugar. So you need, as just your flours even, if you're getting a mix, okay, so this is a cornbread mix. If it's a mix, read the ingredients because a lot of times they'll have cane juice in there, which is just like sugar. So in your dairy, I would suggest not doing soy milk. You can do rice milk, oat milk, almond milk. There's actually hemp, H-E-M-P milk. And try to find which one you like. When I made the pumpkin pie, that was sugar-free at Thanksgiving, I used rice milk, pumpkin, egg, and I think I used brown rice syrup, and I used all the, I think cinnamon and nutmeg. And I mixed that together and put that in a wheat-free shell. And I baked that, and it was excellent, you guys. Now I'm going to give you another tidbit.
Where'd you find the wheat shell?
You really have to look in your health food stores. I was down in Atlanta, so it's not going to help you where I tell you where to look for.
Make it yourself.
So, pardon?
Make it yourself.
Yes, you can make it yourself. I'm going to give you an idea that you can make for yourself is you can grind up almonds or walnuts to a real nice meal. Now, I'm going to tell you, this particular, let me look at what this is. It's red mill. Red mill, if you look in your health food stores, they have all kinds of stuff. And they have an almond meal that you can use as your pie shell. But guess what? It costs like a lot of money. Now, I'm not saying you don't want to spend it, and you might want to. But it's just as easier if you get a great grinder and you grind raw almonds yourself. You can make that, okay? You can get, it's Pamela's shortbread cookies. Now, the last time I bought them, remember this, the last time I bought them, they had no sugar in them. I can't say that they're going to have that this time. Remember, all the ingredients changed. But you can grind Pamela's shortbread cookies. Mix it with some sort of oil. You can just use butter. You can use a coconut oil, so you're having shortbread cookies with a little bit of coconut oil. Mat that down and make your shell. Now, if you want something very easy, during the holidays, you slice up your favorite apple. Honeycrisp is the best apple right now that's nice and sweet and it's crunchy. Honeycrisp. You can get that now. You slice them up thin. You go to your health food store and you go in the jelly department, and there is a jelly that is from France, and it's all pure jelly. It has no sugar added. It's all fruit. And get the plum one. Okay, the plum, it's called Fancy Plum, I think. You mix that with your apples. Mix that with your apples. You can add walnuts into that if you want. You can add some raisins if you want it, a little bit more sweetener. Then take a granola, mix it with some butter, put that on top of the pie and bake that in your oven. And it's great. Do it for about an hour. You know, punch it.